Greetings, progressive viewers, health and wellness community. I'm Bernard Maat Kynes, and I want to welcome you to our show tonight. We are featuring the red light therapy bed, and we're redoing the show because in the future, near future, 2024, Iman and I will launch our wellness center. The red light therapy bed will be our main focus, although we will have other products. So enjoy the show, take in all of the information, and we look forward to being with you in 2024. Enjoy the holidays with your family, and I say to you, on behalf of my beautiful wife, Imani, Ashe, Namaste, and Amen.
Hello, good evening. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Imani Ma'at Kynes.
I'm J. Bernard Ma'at Kynes.
And we are here with Progressively Yours Health and Wellness Podcast as part of Sankofa Institute for Wellness. And we have a great show prepared for this evening. You're going to love it. I'll just give you a hint. The topic is red light therapy. Not this one, but this is just a sample of red light therapy. But we have that real expert who's going to talk with you. But before we get into the show, Bernard's going to do his spiritual upliftment. Is that a word?
Well, it is now.
Okay.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, as Imani has indicated, we have a wonderful show for you tonight. And we're going to move through some things a little bit quicker because we want our guests to have as much time as he can use. So without further ado, as is our ritual tradition, I invite you, for those of you who are familiar with the show, to take a moment just to close your eyes. Those of you who are new to the show, this is a moment where we turn inwardly and we become mindful of our mind, body, and spirit. And I ask you to take 3 deep breaths in and out through your nose, deep and full. And here's a mantra I like to offer. I allow myself to be open to receive what is meant for me tonight. I offer myself to receive what is for me tonight. I allow myself to be open to receive what is for me tonight. It is indeed for the ancestors who celebrate as we take steps toward transforming our minds, our body, and our spirit for our total health. Ashe.
Ashe.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Amen.
Amen.
Imani?
Are you going to? You said you wanted to. No,
That's
I'm
it.
not going to do that. Okay. So what I would like to share something real quick with you. We're going to introduce, because we have so much information to share, and we're going to start putting it out little by little by little. So there's a nice piece that I read about cloves, the health benefits of cloves. If you just chew on 2 cloves every day, the amazing things that it does for your body. I'm going to just give you the topic areas because I don't want to go into detail. It's so much information, but I have like 10 things that it does. One is hair growth. It helps to stimulate follicles, so that your hair will grow. Another is that it boosts your immune system. It enhances oral health. You can just rub a little bit or chew on some cloves or rub a little bit around your mouth. It freshens your breath, and it's just amazing for your oral health. It promotes digestive health. Cloves stimulate the production of digestive enzymes in the gut. Eye health. Cloves stimulate the production of zinc and melanin, both of which are anti-inflammatory and help to reduce cataracts. And it helps to reduce free radicals. So there's a lot that it does for eye eye health. All right, it regulates blood sugar levels. Cloves, cloves help to release. It slows down the release of glucose into the bloodstream, and it soothes upset stomachs, and it helps gastric ulcers. It also supports the respiratory health. Clove oil is an antioxidant. I'm not going to go into any more details, but it's good for your respiratory, for asthma and bronchitis and stuff. It improves brain function, reduces cognitive decline, stimulates growth and survival of brain cells. So for things like our Alzheimer's and a number of things, I mean, it's just really, really, really powerful. And it's a good detoxification. It helps to detox your system. It improves sleep. It helps to produce serotonin. It helps to reduce pain and discomfort. There's so much by chewing on 2 little pieces of cloves. So do that. You can rub the powder in your mouth. You can take a little bit of the oil. So those are my health tips. And we have a link, if our producers have it handy. And I'm sorry I didn't make a small link. And I can actually go over the list tomorrow, but I wanted to make sure that our guest has as much time as possible. But get some cloves, chew on 2 cloves a day, and it'll make an amazing impact for the better in your health. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our amazing guest, Dr. Carl Rothschild. Dr. Carl is a pioneer advocate of red light therapy, RLT, has dedicated his life to igniting the spark of vitality in others. His relentless pursuit of knowledge has yielded deep insights into what people truly seek in their health journey, leading him towards a groundbreaking domain of RLT. Dr. Carl Rothschild's journey in the field of healthcare is a story of dedication, innovation, and heartfelt commitment. His solid foundation in science was built at Stony Brook University, followed by a doctorate from Southern California University of Health Sciences. Since 1979, he's been serving the community of Los Angeles with his compassionate approach to chiropractic care, directing the highly regarded Westland Health Center. In his quest to offer his patients the best of wellness solutions, Dr. Rothschild embraced the transformative potential of red light therapy. He founded LipoMelt Technologies, Trifecta Light company. With that, we are going to bring up Dr. Carl Rothschild. Welcome to our show, Dr. Carl. How are
Carl,
you?
welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know who wrote that, but I could not have written it.
It serves you well, and you have done a lot, and I'm sure it's very modest. I know you've done a lot more than what we've mentioned here, and it's a delight to have you on the show with us.
I really appreciate that. Listen, I have been a chiropractor, as it said, for 45 years. I've been in light therapy. I was introduced to light therapy 25 years ago, and it absolutely revolutionized my practice. Nobody was doing it back then. And as I was working with different modalities and things with light therapy, I couldn't believe the kind of things that we were able to heal people with. And so those of you, my favorite audience are people that have never heard much about red light therapy. If you're ready to have your life changed, listen, I've had all those years as a chiropractor, I've had 15 practices. I've lectured all over the country. And my practice, I always wanted to bring the best of technology, of my techniques and things like that. And it was easy for me because I loved it. I absolutely loved helping people and making it as easy as possible. I brought in all these different technologies, and in retrospect, they were good. There were really a lot of good things. But what happened is, so let me tell you, about 12 years ago, I decided to get involved with manufacturing. I wanted to have the best. So we started producing. We were involved with lasers. We produced pads, all kinds of different things. And then this thing that happened to all of us throughout the world called COVID, it forced us to develop a product, a device that people could use that didn't require patient and provider physical contact. And so we developed the bed. I was actually I was almost a little against the bed because it had some features. There was only a couple of beds that had been produced by others at that time, and they were very expensive and they didn't work so great. And then we produced it. And wouldn't you know, all of a sudden some Alexa is starting to talk to me. But all I can tell you is that within a month of us producing this bed, all of a sudden we were getting feedback from people that was quite astonishing. This person's telling us about her mother who had severe Parkinson's and dementia, and now she doesn't. This person's telling us about the fact that he couldn't walk for 15 years, and now he can. And we started doing more and more investigation on it. And we got better and better results, but we also got better and better technology. And it was just unbelievable. I mean, if you have people in your audience right now can think of any condition, I don't care what it is, I would challenge you that by using red light in your life, it would not just make nice, it would be miraculous.
Let me just interject 1 second, Dr. Carl. I just wanted to give our disclaimer that information shared here is for information purposes only. If people have a serious medical issue, they should check with their own doctors, because we're not here to prescribe or diagnose or treat or whatever, prevent anything. So this is all for information purposes. Okay, please continue.
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay.
In this country in particular, listen, I want your audience to do me one favor, not now, later. They're going to go to a website. It's called scholar.google.com. It's a scholarly Google. If you can put it in the show notes or something like that for people to understand. In fact, keep your pad and pencil available, because I have a few words I'd like you to know about. But if you go to scholar.google.com, which is looks just like Google, but it's a much better version of Google.
Oh, yeah.
And you put in the words red light therapy. And what you're going to find are articles and research papers, double-blind studies, university studies, all kinds of wonderful studies. Now, would you believe if I told you there was not just a few articles, research papers, but there's over 1 million different research papers, articles, and studies.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think not that many people know about red light therapy? When I'm telling you millions of research papers have been done, all kinds of stuff. And the reason is, listen, I'm going to walk over to this doctor over here, a medical doctor. I'm going to say, I want you to come over here. I want to introduce you to something that's going to guarantee to make you less money. It's not going to stimulate that. Tell me more. I want to learn how I can make less money, because they're not going to need to do some of those surgeries. Remember, the disclaimer is perfect. I'm not telling you, if you have a car accident and you're in the middle of the street and your arm is over there and your body's over here, I'm not saying get in a red light bed. I'm saying that in many cases, I want you to go to your practitioner and make sure that this makes sense to you. Now, out of 100 medical practitioners, guess how many know anything about red light therapy?
0.
None. Exactly. None.
I was going to say 5.
But you're going to go to them and you're going to ask them. Now, more and more of them are coming towards us. But the first guy that brought this technology to the United States 25 years ago, I knew him before he brought it here. He was a relatively famous orthopedic surgeon out of USC. His name was Chadwick Smith. And he was convincing me to get involved with red light therapy. And I'm so grateful that he did. And he brought it to the world. And guess what? He was an orthopedic surgeon. He thought his buddies would come on board with him. And guess what? Not one of them joined him. Because who wants to hear about not needing the surgery, not needing this? I'll give you an example. And please, all of you, make your own decisions. I'm not telling you not to I love medical doctors, don't get me wrong. I use them all the time in my practices. We refer to them. They refer back to us. I wouldn't be foolish to tell you we're against surgery and drugs. We're against the overuse of drugs and surgery. But the common smart usage makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. A lady, she has this thing called uveitis. It was stimulated by her psoriasis. Her psoriasis in her body was so severe that it actually got into her eye, and she was having swelling in her eye, and she had macular. If you've heard of macular degeneration, there's also macular edema. She had macular edema where the eye was swelling and her retina was swelling. And the treatment for that, for all of these different things in the eyes, guess what it is? It's an injection, a needle in the eye.
Ouch.
And how much does that cost? $5,000 each injection. And it's monthly. And the drops she had in her eye were $400. That was her copayment, was $400 a month. Red light therapy cured it all. Her psoriasis, her uveitis, her eye issues in general. You would be hard pressed, as I was saying, to find a condition that we haven't seen phenomenal results, even rare hereditary diseases. Now, I cannot use the word cure. I cannot even use the word heal. I can use the word of treating.
Treating.
Okay.
So, but it will blow you away. If you have a condition, I don't care what it is, or autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis, which is part of the autoimmune disease, anything. We've had people with Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis. We had a guy with a rare hereditary disease that was making him blind. At the age of 20, 21, it started eating away, this disease started eating away at his retina, and he was going blind.
Wow.
And by using red light, we were able to halt the progression, got rid of all his symptoms, and we're probably not going to be able to gain that eyesight we've lost up till now, but whatever remains, I believe that with continuing use of the red light, we'll be able to help him. And by the way, it's not like we're telling him to not go to his medical doctor. They had nothing for him.
Okay.
There was nothing they could do for him. They told him, here's the pain relief, because he had pain behind the eye, migraines, couldn't sleep at night, and a few other symptoms, and they're all gone.
How long does it take for you to see results?
Interesting enough, the more severe the person's condition is, the more dramatic the results seem to be. But I tell everybody, I said, listen, I can't shut up about it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's just, it's so unbelievable. But I will tell you that I just tell people, just give me 6 visits. That's all. Just 6 visits. And if at the end of the 6 visits, you don't see any change at all, which by the way has never happened. If you don't see any change, we're not going to resolve it completely. But if you don't see any change in 6 visits, then this is not going to work for you. Never seen that yet.
Wow. How long do they stay in the red light bed for each visit?
Each treatment takes 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
Wow, that's all.
Now, if they have any ancillary services that they want to do after that, but it's always bed first or lights first, and then they might use, we're fond of a variety of other therapies like whole body vibration. And that's the main thing we pair up is the lymphatic massager, whole body vibration, and the bed itself. And I want to tell you that there are 9 divisions to our company, but the company, one of our models, we've been doing this for 12 years. One of our models had a different name, and they would say, if you use this equipment, you would win. It's like winning the trifecta at the horse race, something like that. So it caught on. So we decided our next model, we called it the trifecta, winning the triple effect of face, fat, and healing. In the world of face, we're talking really about skin, head to toe, but the face in particular, you'll get rid of a lot of the gunk under here, the turkey neck, fine lines and wrinkles. It's miraculous. I love it. Then in the world of fat, which we really didn't talk about yet, by accident, 12 years ago, they discovered that there was an element of red light that actually helped to shrink fat cells. That does it all healthy. It's not about, I'm not going to knock other therapies, but as a chiropractor, we do no harm. And that harm means we're not going to kill anything. We're not going to injure anything. We're not going to destroy anything. We're not going to remove anything. And we're not going to put anything in there that doesn't belong there. So it's not about freezing fat. It's not about ultrasonic cavitation or radio frequency. All these things are about destroying fat cells. This technique or technology is about actually changing temporarily the fat cell wall to allow it to become more porous, allows the contents to leak out. And then with our specialized protocol, we move that fat away from the fat cells and eventually to the liver for use or elimination. So the fat cells are still fully intact. The person is nothing's get killed or destroyed or anything like that. And it works.
That's amazing. So that's part of what because we're familiar with the whole body vibration. We've been doing that for some years now. And so it sounds like once the fat cells, the fat has leaked out of the cells, the vibration helps to get it moving so that it does move to the liver.
Correct.
Or,
you need to have some activity right after. If this is just for the fat loss or for detoxing, the fat cells store a lot of, not more than just fat. It's actually like sponges that actually store the toxins. So when we're releasing that out of the body, eventually within about 2 weeks, they're going to find such clarity and cleanly. They're going to feel cleaner. And it's hard to explain because the person who's had this condition so long, they don't even realize how toxic their body is. And a lot of symptoms you don't realize. I have a lot of people, I'll go, how's it going? Oh, I feel fine, no problem. And then after using the bed, just to experiment, they'll realize, what, I thought I slept well. And now I realize what good sleep is. Or I thought I didn't have digestive issues. Holy mackerel, it's amazing. So, so I want to talk to you about how it works. We talked about there are two definitely different mechanisms. One I talked to you about that 12 years ago, by accident, they discovered an element of red light that helped with shrinking fat cells. I'm going to put that one aside. 50 years ago, they first started doing research on light and how it could affect the body. Red light therapy was one of the terms that we would use. Now, red light really is a combination of red and near infrared. And to that end, I wanted to talk to you about the word infrared. When someone says they go into an infrared sauna, for example, or if they're using infrared, it really by default means far infrared. Far infrared is a fancy way of having deep penetrating heat, and that's it. The miraculous wavelength is not far infrared. It's near infrared. So learn about near infrared. And the only thing that far infrared and near infrared have in common, in my opinion, is the same last name. They're so different. I am in love with near infrared. I've been using it for 25 years. That's what we started with, was near infrared. And what we did 12 years ago is integrate both red and near infrared. Red light has a wonderful effect on a little bit of healing, but it's the one that helps with the fat loss. The near infrared does everything else, including tightening the skin. If you can think of any skin condition, in fact, like moles, skin tags, anything on the skin will see great results on it. I'm not talking about curing. I'm not talking about healing. I'm talking about treating. Try it.
What is
in 50 years, guess what? In the last 50 years of the research that they've done, there has never been a recorded side effect. So the worst that'll possibly happen is nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And that's pretty unusual to see.
What is the difference between what is near infrared, since that's a new term for people? We know about far infrared, and it does just kind of like you said, it's a deep warmth that goes through your body. But what is the near?
So if you look at the rainbow, you've got violet on one end or ultraviolet past that, and all the ways on the other end is red, and then past that is near infrared, and then mid infrared, and then far infrared. They're just different wavelengths.
Okay.
So red is in this, if you want to know, is in the 600 nanometers, basically, somewhere between 600 and 700 nanometers. Near infrared is the next level of wavelength. What's unique about all the infrareds is that they're invisible to the naked eye. without a special goggles or some kind of equipment, you wouldn't be able to see infrared, whether it's near, far, or any of the infrared.
Mm-hmm.
Again, far infrared is far infrared saunas, far infrared toasters. They have far infrared jade tables you may have heard of, and they're fine. They're heat.
Mm-hmm.
But the near infrared, and this is where I want to tell you, how does this near infrared work? They didn't know, but they saw that it was amazingly healing until what they learned. And I'll bet you some of your audience has heard this word, mitochondria.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yes.
we've never heard that word as much as we have in the last few years.
Yep.
And it's called, the terms you'd want to use is mitochondrial activity, mitochondrial function, and then mitochondrial dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
So what's so important about the mitochondria? Now, every part of your body is made up of tissues. Every tissue is made up of cells. And every cell within it has a various, what they call organelles, and one of them is the mitochondria.
Mm-hmm.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's the reason why you eat and breathe oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
And that combination, that food gets broken down to the most important element called glucose. That glucose in combination with oxygen helps produce this miraculous energy molecule called ATP.
Mm-hmm.
And without that functioning properly, you wind up with disease and eventually death. So winding backwards, by having proper mitochondrial activity, 100% mitochondrial function, it's not about living longer only, it's about the quality of life.
Quality of life. Yeah.
What we're doing is we're stimulating the mitochondria with certain wavelengths. And we have this, I don't know if I can use the word miraculous. It is miraculous.
Yeah.
Miraculous wavelengths.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where do these wavelengths come from? The sun. Could you imagine if I came to you and I said, it's the sun? Not some chemical over here, not some weird whatever. It's the sun.
Mm-hmm.
What we've done is we've taken four elements of four wavelengths, only healing wavelengths of the sun, two very unique red wavelengths, two very unique near infrared wavelengths, integrated together in the bed.
Mm.
We magnify it thousands of times and drive it deep into the body.
Mm.
We had a question from someone. Jackie was asking, she asked, does the red light bed contain PEMF? And she also asked about, if so, what are the wavelengths? I heard you just mention wavelengths. Can you address?
Let's do one question at a time. Is she asking about PEMF or high frequency EMF? Like some people are worried about being exposed to EMF, which is like that high towers of electricity. You don't want to live around that, right?
Right. Electromagnetic frequencies. So
correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that what we're asking, or PEMF, which is a different thing, pulsed electromagnetic field, but it's used differently. I have one right here behind this computer that I'm looking at.
Okay.
And these are called chi coils. And I've been studying energy healing and frequency healing for many years. And no, the bed does not have the wrong EMF, and it also doesn't have PEMF, but we incorporate that. After you get out of the bed, you can do all kinds of stuff.
Right.
But I will tell you, I don't want you to hear this. There's good. It's all good. I like that. That's nice. And then there's miraculous.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done all those things.
Mm-hmm.
I was a spokesperson for the whole body vibrational unit that first came out 20 something years ago using sound wave to generate that vibration called turbosonic.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it, but it was good. It wasn't until recently when we were starting to make these beds where people would get out of, how many times as a practitioner, and those of you, if you're a practitioner and listening to this, how many times have your patients come to you and said, thank you for giving me my life back?
Mm-hmm.
In an all natural way. There are no side effects.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can have pain relief with using drugs, but are you getting to the core thing? Again, I'm not talking about healing. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about healing or curing. I'm just talking about treating.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you a story about Arnett. Now, Arnett calls up his practitioner, and actually, he was asking to get a treatment. That guy, the guy that was treating, his name is Lewis. Lewis calls me up and says, "Should I even treat this guy? He's having a heart attack once a week. I don't want him to have a heart attack in my office." And I said, "You know what? Just treat him for 5 minutes. Normally, a treatment is 12 to 15 minutes. Just treat him for 5 minutes, and then stay in the room the whole time." Now, I'm going to say this very carefully, so I say this the right way. That night, that guy goes home, has an unbelievable experience that rest of the day and the evening, and calls us both up. We're all three of us on the phone. And he starts to tell us, now he's had heart failure for 12 years. His heart was so weak and so much of a problem that they had implanted a defibrillator into his chest. So that every time he died, which was averaging one, if not twice a week, it would zap him back to life. Now, if you want to destroy organs, tissues, whatever, reduce blood circulation to them, and that's what was happening to him. He was going towards eventual, much more serious problems. That evening, after that 5-minute treatment, he couldn't believe how great he felt. And if I can tell your audience this, nobody laughs, he had his first erection that he had in 13 years.
Wow.
So he had 12 years he had had the congestive heart failure and the implanted defibrillator. So now, to make a long story short, he is now in Palmdale, California. He wound up getting a team together. He couldn't afford this himself. He got a team together to put a bed in Palmdale. And it's miraculous to him. He goes to his church and he looks at the pastor. He says, "Remember me? I had a heart attack in your church." Number one. And then the parishioners would come up to him and say, "You found life. You look so amazing." And he'd go, "Yep, red light therapy."
Nice.
So to get me back on track, that was about men's health. That's a long story about men's health. Remember, face fat healing, cellulite, men's health, women's health. Now, again, we're not talking about curing or healing, but from a treatment point of view, stories we're hearing about endometriosis or any really painful periods, even cysts on the ovaries are improving dramatically with the bed. So that's women's health. Another category is what we call performance and recovery. So if you know any athlete, before their activity, before their basketball and football game, running, they do track. If there are two people identical, one gets in the bed and the other one doesn't, this guy that gets in the bed will far outperform. Because it will enhance the performance dramatically. I was at a guy's office and his mother comes up to me and she says, "I can swim twice the distance I used to swim." And the father concurred. He said, he is also swimming. They both use swimming as a form of exercise. They're both swimming twice the distance.
He does too. Bernard does.
Okay, well, can you guys see this?
Not clearly.
Pull it back to us. You a little, right there. Up, come up a little come toward us a little bit.
Your screen is messed. Oh, get in the bed. Oh, that's right. Get in the bed.
That's my attitude. I mean, would you just get in the bed, please? So now let me finish. I know you have questions here and stuff. Face fat healing, cellulite, men's health, women's health, athletes. The athletes for the performance and recovery, they get in the bed after their activity and they will recover way faster and much more thoroughly. The next category is mental health. I'm going to read this little note I put up here. It says, "If this is how normal people feel every day, I can't believe I've been missing out all this time." Rebecca sent that to me. Rebecca had such severe depression and emotional issues, and now she doesn't. So it actually helps mental health. Again, remember, you're going to go to Google Scholar, put in red light therapy, and put any word after that. Put in testosterone. Put in moods, emotions, I don't know, whatever you want to put in, depression. And you will see, I'm not talking about stuff that's just anecdotal. I'm talking about absolute proof and research. And the last category, I think that's 8. The last category is senior citizens. Now, the reason why I made that a category is because I'm telling you, I told you that the worse off somebody is, the more dramatic the results would be. So who has more, typically, the elderly have more issues than the youngins. So get a senior citizen. If you have a senior citizen in your life, get them in the bed, and if they have issues. And, you know, I mean, who doesn't? I mean, if you're over a certain age, you're going to have issues. It's just the way this nature of us finally, you know, it's like falling apart is what happens with a lot of people. And as a chiropractor, having seen so many people, in my brain, I kept saying, I don't want that for my life. I don't want that for my life. Seeing that these people who didn't take care of themselves and what they've come up with, that they can't even wipe themselves. They can't feed themselves. They can't, you know, they're in a wheelchair. I don't want that. I didn't want it then. And I certainly don't want it now. I liken it to a candle. This is how I try to explain to my patients all those years. It's like a candle that burns really bright all the way to the end and sputters out and dies. That's what I hope for everybody, that they don't live 25% of their life, which is the average person lives their last quarter of their life wishing that they had taken better care of themselves when they were younger. But they don't think about it. Oh, I can get away with anything. I had patients come to me. I could drink a 6-pack every night. It doesn't affect me. Well, talk to me in 30 years and tell me that it didn't affect you. Sometimes you don't see it when you're young, but you will see the end results later on down the road.
We've got a couple of comments. Jackie Harris is a good friend of ours. She was like, oh, well, let me go back up to Brenda first, because she was asking, what about, and I know people who are in this situation, people who need a kidney transplant. How does it impact or help people who have to have organ transplant, especially the kidney? Because
it depends on how far gone the kidney is. So I don't want to get myself in trouble. Let's talk about Janet. Janet had stage 4 kidney failure.
Okay.
Now, ironically, before I started chiropractic school, I was a hemodialysis technician. I actually assisted in kidney dialysis for a bit there. I was trying to figure out, what did I want to do? You know, because I knew chiropractic was in the background. So I know a little bit more about kidneys than your average Joe. And I can tell you that Janet had stage 4 kidney failure. And now she doesn't. So what's the worst that'll happen with your relative or whoever you know that's having kidney issues? What's the worst that'll happen? Nothing. 6 visits, monitor their issues, make sure you have to monitor kidney success is you would probably want to have blood and urine studies, and then do that again. Maybe it'd take a month. What's the heck? I mean, it's a month out of your person's life. Do it 3 times a week for 1 month. That's 12 visits. And I would be surprised if they didn't see improvement. Now, can we halt the possibility of a transplant? I'm treading on thin water, thin ice right here, because I don't want anyone going to their medical doctor saying, well, he said I don't need a transplant. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying try it. Try it.
It's nice to have options, you know, and especially options that are non-invasive.
Non-invasive and phenomenal. At least try it.
Right.
So what's another good question?
Jackie's just excited. She was like, show me the bed. I don't know if is the bed in the same room with you or not? Or do you have a picture of it? I think we had a picture of it when we sent out the notice about the show this evening.
So, I mean, if you can share the screen, go to trifectalight.com.
Maybe our producers can
Janet,
do that.
Toya, can y'all go to that?
Yeah, let's see if they can pull that up. In the meantime, she is like, okay, where are you located? And the location question is good because you, I know you have centers around. People have centers around.
I'm not in practice, so they're not going to find me. Right. What they're going to do is go to the website, trifectalight.com. go to the Contact Us page.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look all the way to the right, you see where it says More? Click on More, and then all the way down it says Contact. Click on the Contact Us. Put your name and information in there, and just request what you want. So you'd say, give us a zip code or your city and state. Say, I'd like a location as close as possible to us. Here's the problem. This most recent bed, not that it's a real problem, but we've only started producing and releasing them as of, that's not the bed, that's the old bed. Scroll up a little bit more.
Can I just say, when they fill out that form, we'd just like for them to mention that they had learned about it on our podcast.
Absolutely. You want to put that on there.
Yeah.
But take a look and see. Trifecta beds are whole body photo. That's the bed. That's the 450.
Biomodulation chambers. I love it.
It is a beautiful piece of work. I'm telling you. How do I know that? I built it.
Wow. Right.
And here's what's important for you to know. I built the right height, that it's easy to get in and out of, that the canopy comes right close to the body. You want it as close to your body as possible. If you don't have it close to your body, as the light comes away from your body, you lose power exponentially. So that light can come real close. So now why is that possible now when it wasn't possible in the past? Because these lights are very strong, but the limiting factor has always been heat. You don't want heat.
You don't want too much heat.
Not only do you not want heat because it's not comfortable, but you don't want heat because it dilates blood vessels, brings more fluid to the surface, and that will block the penetration of the light.
Mm-hmm. So is there light on both sides when you lay in the bed? Is it on both sides, top and bottom?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. What else was Jackie asking before we go on to the next person, Dr. Stephen Thomas? Hey, Dr. Thomas. She said, how old are you? Your skin looks amazing.
Well, this is an avatar. That's not really me in there.
Good answer.
Right.
I'm 71 years old.
All right. 71 years young. And you do look great. You look absolutely amazing.
So Dr. Carr, some people are talking about a mixture of red light and blue light. What do you know about the blue light treatment?
I know everything you're going to want to know about green light, blue light, violet light, purple light. Look, I know the miracles. I know the miracle wavelengths. Could we add blue? So blue is a germicide, but so is red and near infrared.
Okay.
And green helps with acne, but so is red and near infrared. So if I yank out, and it's easy to do, right? I could yank out one of our colors and throw in another color, and now I don't have the miracle wavelength of red and near infrared. So we have elected not to integrate with inferior wavelengths.
Gotcha.
Listen, I don't know if you have a chance to put my book up there.
Well, that's what we was about to mention. We don't want you to forget to talk about the book. Yeah.
Okay. Number one, I don't make a penny from the sales of this book. It's 280 pages. I've worked my tush, if I may say, off to create this book. It is extremely well written. And how do I know this? Not because I wrote it. Yes, I did write it, but then I gave it to the editor, and man, they took my very good writing and made it so eloquent and so wonderful. It is a phenomenal read. If you read the whole thing, you will become an expert in red light therapy.
It is a great book. I started reading it. It's good.
Yeah.
So when someone comes up to, like, they're going to be at the A4M, we're going to have a bed there at the A4M in Las Vegas. And I'm not going to be there. I don't do those things anymore. Okay. I've done hundreds of these trade shows. They drive me crazy. But I have a team that's going to be there. And I told them, I said, when they bring up green light and blue light and purple light and all that stuff, say the guy that wrote the book said, we don't need those other colors in there. Again, I could do it. I don't want to. I don't want to not have my glorious red and near infrared lights in there.
So we're about to lose battery power, so he might have went to get the cable. So you mentioned people who have extreme illness, they might see the greatest result. for those who are trying to maintain health, how often would you say it would be good to be in the bed as
How
such?
often do you swim?
I swim about 3 times
That's it.
a week.
That's the answer. 3 times a
Oh,
week.
really? Yeah.
That's the same thing when you work out, you get in the bed 3 times a week for maintaining. Now, if somebody comes to my office, I'm not in practice, but if they came to one of our offices, what I
Right.
instruct is I say, look, if someone's got horrific problem, like a really bad problem, we may need to see them once, if not even twice a day for the first week or two. We had this one gentleman, it was so sad. He had horrible, horrible Parkinson's. And he would take this drug that gave him 20 minutes a day. Now, by the way, the side effects of these drugs are outrageous, but he would have 20 minutes a day of a glimpse, not actually a normal life, but a glimpse of what it could be like. So it was better, but it wasn't so great. And I told the practitioner, I said, that guy, you're going to want to see twice a day if you can, at least once a day, maybe for 2 or 3 weeks, and then 3 times a week until we plateau out. We're not healing. We're not curing. We're treating.
Mm-hmm. There's a question here. Can you use it while pregnant or with a pacemaker? Good questions.
That's a beautiful question. Now, remember I told you before about the gentleman who had implanted a defibrillator in his chest, and he got in the bed, no problem. You see, if you can walk into the room and turn on the lights to the room, and be okay with that, which everybody would be, then you can get into bed because it's as dangerous as the lights in your room. However, why we don't treat pregnant women is not about reality. It's about this country. Now I can get, not only do I have medical doctors that are mad at me, why don't I get attorneys mad at me? This country has too many attorneys and they need to find reasons to sue each of you and me. So if that baby comes out wearing a mustache, they're going to want to blame everybody and anybody, and you don't want to be in that neighborhood. So we wait until the baby is born, and then you get them in the bed, and especially after cesarean, we would not believe how much quicker, and how much more thoroughly that person will heal. In fact, after any surgery, like plastic surgery or whatever, if they get in the bed right away, they will recover so much faster.
Jackie was asking, thank you for that. She was asking, well, she said she wished the bed offered photon light therapy. What's the difference between this and photon light therapy?
She doesn't want that. She wants this bed.
Okay, I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does.
I would put up, I'm very familiar with plasma therapy and photon. And when they get in the bed, it's a whole different planet. It's so different. I mean, I've never witnessed this. I'm just telling you, we created the bed sort of by accident, right? We created it because of COVID. And I was not even thrilled about doing it because as the lights come away from the body, you lose power. Whereas before we were using lasers right on the body or pads right on the body. And I said, this isn't going to work as well. But what we were able to do at the same time is create lights that really are strong, much stronger, but don't get so hot. And by us being able to do that, we were able to create these changes. And again, I didn't anticipate that Gina, who's had diarrhea for 20 years only, and after 4 visits, normal bowel movements, and ever since. And Lyme disease, shingles, all that. Again, I'm not talking about curing or healing. We're talking about treating.
Rheumatoid arthritis. Somebody asked about rheumatoid arthritis. I think you mentioned it already.
I did. And it's all part of an autoimmune world. And the results with autoimmune are phenomenal. So let's talk about rheumatoid arthritis. We had this lady that couldn't get in her house easily because she couldn't work the key with her bad rheumatoid arthritis. She was also a dancer and actress. And after a relatively short period of time using the bed, she's now able to do all those things.
Wow. That's amazing. That really is amazing. I mean, so many people can benefit from this therapy. And like you said, each treatment session is 12 minutes long. And if they want some of the other things that are recommended with it, that's a short term time investment to get such nice results.
All you need is 3 times a week for 2 weeks, and at the end of those 2 weeks, you just, if you don't see any change at all, I'm not saying phenomenal change, just you should see, like that guy with the severe Parkinson's. Now that took more than 6 visits, but relatively quickly he noticed that instead of 20 minutes of a glimpse of normal life, it tripled the time. That's when he called me. I mean, he was, his tremors were so severe. I'll give you the story about this lady that had horrible, terrible Parkinson's. And her biggest complaint was that when she went to church, she couldn't hold her Bible because her hands would shake so much. And within 2 weeks, the tremors were down to so mild that she was easily able to hold the Bible. That was the most important thing to her. Now, are there a million other things that I would like her to focus on? Also, all the other symptoms, but that was the one that was most important. And that's called activities of daily living. As a chiropractor, I was more interested in how this changed their lives, whether it's chiropractic, light therapy, whatever, than I was interested in how often they have the pain or how bad is the pain. The most telling is, well, how's it change your life? Well, I can sit on the floor now and play with my kids in the game of Monopoly or whatever. Or I can do this, I can do that. I couldn't do that before. I could, after 2 hours of being at work, I had to go home. Now I can work a full shift. Can you imagine what a impact this could have on a person's life?
Oh, absolutely.
And remember, 0 side effects.
Dr. Rothschild, we have like 4 minutes maybe left. And
wait. If I pay more, can I stay longer?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I just wrote down so I wouldn't forget. We want you back very soon, but we want to do the webinar this time around. So in a few weeks, and for those who are on, who may want to attend, they have to, let us know that.
Right.
But yes, go ahead.
Bernard, he also made a note down here to our Atlanta friends. Coming soon to a location near you. Hint, hint. Right? Yes, we will have this available. And there are people probably somewhere in the metropolitan area. We can none at all. Wow. Okay. Okay. So we will help with Dr. Rothschild to find we have people online with us from around the country. So they'll, people will want to know where they can go to try it. But I'm hoping that folks will also want to know where they can and how they can purchase it.
So again, they go on the website, go to the contact us page, and tell them, they're going to say how they heard about this, and then ask the question whether they want a bed nearby them and see if we have something. And by the way, all of you, if there's not a bed near you, it's your job to get a bed near you. Just go to your local practitioner that you have a connection with and say, hey, buddy, get one of these beds in your practice. It will change your career. We're doing this regularly. We're taking guys who are, they start really loving the whole thing because people, more often than not, they're coming to them and they're saying that very important phrase I told you. Thank you for giving me my life back. It's worth a lot.
That says it all. That's amazing. Yeah. And we have your book, the link for your book up there. People need to read the book because when you read the book, you really get a deep understanding of what this is all about. So we're
not one penny of the profits go to me. They all go to charity.
Right. And that's beautiful. We appreciate you for doing that. We appreciate you for being on the show with us. We are going to do a webinar with you soon. Do you have some closing remarks for our audience, Dr. Rothschild?
Can you see this?
Just get in the bed.
Get in the bed.
Simple.
Closing remarks. Listen, after thousands of patients that I worked with and struggled with your issues and your pain, at least give this a try. And I do want to tell you guys, you should go to our YouTube channel. And if you guys can put it up here, just go to YouTube and put in the word Trifecta Light Official and look at those videos. And you will be astounded. You'll see Arnett's video about who's having heart attack every week. You'll see Janet's about stage 3, and she actually was stage 4 kidney failure. You'll see Gina, who had 20 years of diarrhea only. And you'll see Jessica, who had every ailment you can think of, 3 forms of psoriasis. She had so many different conditions and issues, and she doesn't have any of those issues anymore. And it's not about healing. I'm not allowed a word to use cure or healing, but it's about treating the heck out of these things. And you deserve to at least try it. At least try it.
I think it's great. Well, thank you so much for starting the conversation with us and our watching and listening audience. And we look forward to having you back. We want to thank our viewers for being on with us and soaking up this wonderful information, being the recipients of this wonderful information. And
can I just say one thing? I love how, when I say it, the words come up over here. So now, do you want to just put in the winning lottery numbers? I forgot to tell you that.
Right, I know. That would be wonderful. Go to YouTube and Trifecta Light Official, and you'll get to see all the testimonials. Wonderful. With that, say thank you. Stick around. We have our little thing afterwards, Dr. Rothschild. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week, same time. If you're watching the recording, we hope that you got a lot of information out of this too. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Ashe.
Ashe. Namaste. All right.